All right, let's hear it again for Steve. What a great job. All right. What a great job, and it's so lovely to see everybody here. You guys warm enough? Yeah, we told him to turn up the heat a little bit to get rid of the moisture. Is that all right? I don't know. Now, all kidding aside, it's great to be here in Windham, obviously. The last time I was here with some fireworks, had a great time, spoke with the principal, and they're honored to have each and every one of you here. I just ask that we leave it as we found it. Make sure you take all your trash and everything with you. And remember, you're being part of history right now, so give yourselves a round of applause. You know, I see a lot of our elected officials here in New Hampshire and some from Massachusetts, some from Maine in the audience, a lot of familiar faces. And let me just start out by saying it's not just about the presidency. We need to retain the Senate, retain the House, and obviously get the governorship here in New Hampshire, and also make sure we keep the Senate and the House, because guess what? As a result of that check and balance right now on Governor Hassan, you have more money in your pocketbooks and wallets. You have the ability to have a surplus, and you have a solid budget as a result of their efforts. So don't just think you're working for the top of the ticket. We need to work all the way through the ticket, because that's what the Democrats are going to do. So just keep that in mind. You know, this election process has been fascinating for each and every one of us. It's been especially fascinating for my wife and me. As you know, and many of you have actually come to our no BS backyard barbecues, where we had 10 of the presidential candidates at our house. You grab a beer and a hot dog, you sit down in a lawn chair, and you literally grill the candidates, each and every one of them. Ask them what their positions are on every one of the issues that you so greatly care about. And you know what I came out thinking after it was all over? That each and every one of those candidates would make a better president than Hillary Clinton. Now, some of you may not know this, but I was the first past or present federal official to endorse Donald Trump, and let me tell you why. As you know, I served in the United States Senate for 3 years, and I can tell you firsthand, they don't like each other, they don't talk to each other, they don't work together to do the people's business. You know what they do? They are working for their own petty partisan political issues that they care about in their parties. They're not doing the people's business. So one of the reasons that I want Donald Trump down there is this. I want somebody who's going to go down there and be a change agent, who's going to go down there and not be like the others, who's going to go down there and kick some butt and take some numbers and force these guys to work together. And as Stephen said, like you and like me, I want a secure border. I know that it can be done. And I know that Mexico is going to pay for it one way or another. And another reason I'm supporting Donald Trump is because I want to defeat ISIS. I want to defeat Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda. I want to make sure that when you and your families go out to the mall or the movie theaters, you would take a trip overseas, that you come home safely, that you don't have to look at the exits and say, oh my goodness, what if something happens? I want to be ready. I want somebody who's going to make sure that our allies trust us again, and our word is our bond, and I want to make sure that our foes fear us again. When it comes to the economic issues affecting our country, you know how many zeros are in a trillion? We are in $19.5 trillion national debt. We're running trillion-dollar deficits. I am supporting Donald Trump because I want somebody like him who has actually signed the front of a paycheck, okay, and has actually created jobs, bringing in people who know better than the career politicians how to look at a budget and actually look at it differently than it's been done over the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and find a way to get our debt and deficit under control. Do you think that's too hard to do for them? Of course it is. That's why we need Donald Trump to actually get down there and do it. And I see a tremendous amount of military servicemen and women here, and I want to thank you for your service. Let's give them all a round of applause. USA! 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 All right, all right. Boy, you guys are spunky today. He's going to have a lot of fun here. Let me just say, you know it as well as I do. Anyone who's served or anyone whose spouse, their husband, their wife, obviously, their relative, their son, their daughter is serving, we need to rebuild our military. And as you know, I served in the military for 35 years. The last 4 at the Pentagon. I was one of the ranking members on the Armed Services Committee, on the Veterans Committee, Homeland Security Committee. I understand what those challenges are, and I can tell you what. I want someone like Donald Trump who's going to make sure that our men and women who are giving the most for our country right now, including our law enforcement personnel, have the tools and resources to do their jobs, number one. To do those jobs safely and securely and come home. And then have the tools and resources to not have to fight for a job or fight for housing or fight for care at the VA. That's what I think Donald Trump will do for our military and our law enforcement personnel. And he needs your help to do it. Because remember, these people went out to battle and they survived those battles. And then they have to come home. And they're fighting and dying in the battle to get served by the VA, and that's just not right. Just not right. So let me step back a moment and reflect. There's no doubt in my mind that a little over 90 days, folks, a little over 3 months, at its fundamental core, this election is about a very binary choice. Do we want to go in another 4 to 8 years of the failed Obama-Clinton agenda? Or do we want to go in a new, exciting, and different direction? Let me ask you that again. Do we want to continue with another 4 to 8 years of the Obama-Clinton agenda? Or do we want to go in a new, exciting, and different direction? All right. And let me explain what I mean. And before I do that, let me give a message to President Obama. He's always giving us words of wisdom and advice with that smirk on his face. Oh, we don't know what we're talking about. Oh, it's just a coincidence. Well, sir, no one in this room or anyone who cares about law and order, the rule of law, jobs for our kids and families, or who is a job creator or sometime or someday dreams of creating job, or someone who wants a stronger military, or wants immediate care for our veterans, or wants the ability to feel that our allies will once again trust our word, and that our foes will once again fear our words. And all the people of goodwill that recognize that Iran and its leaders have you and your administration wrapped around their fingers. We don't care what you say about our nominee, Mr. President. It means absolutely nothing. But you know what he's trying to do? He's trying to make sure you and everybody else listening and watching right now don't vote. You're going to stay home. You're going to vote with Bernie. You know, you're going to vote for Hillary. You're going to vote for the Libertarian. You're going to just make sure you don't vote for Donald Trump, because you know why? Because if, in fact, you do that, and each and every one of you do not get out for the next 3 months and work every single day to get out the vote, guess what? They win. And that's what he wants. So my message to him, Mr. President, with all due respect, it's not going to happen. And Steve referenced it earlier. You know why it's not going to happen? Because people just don't trust him. There's a serious trust issue. Listen, I know Obamacare better than anybody, all right? And you can't keep your doctor. You can't get the, and haven't gotten that who's gotten that $2,500 check? Anybody here? I know of people who are paying thousands and thousands more in health care. There are no lower premiums. But if there's a lower premium, there's an incredibly high deductible. Seniors are being hurt, taking $750 billion away from the Medicare, 18 new taxes. Everything he said was a lie. And then let's talk about other lies of this president. Then we'll talk about Hillary's lies, all right? I only have a little while, though. When the President of the United States draws a red line and Syria jumps back and forth over that red line and the President does nothing, what does that do? It shows weakness, thank you. It also gives Putin the ability to move on Crimea. It emboldens him to roll across that part of the region, or roll across his neighbors. It emboldens our foes, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram, and all the terrorist groups to say, you know what, they're not going to do anything. Nothing. It also emboldens China to change the law of the sea, build islands, change the law of the air, change the way that they do business, because we're not going to do anything. Our military is the lowest it's been since World War II. They know what's going on. The president has blinked, and let's talk about the Iran deal. That Iran deal, as you all know, puts each and every person, each and every country in grave danger. The fact that they have billions of dollars, and now recently another $400 million to export terrorism around the region and the world. It's unbelievable. The way that they've treated Israel, our closest ally in that region. They treat Cuba and they treat Iran better than they treat our friends in Europe, including Israel and others. It's completely unacceptable, folks. Completely unacceptable. And I know each and every one of you are here on a Friday night because you care so very, very much about our country. Saturday, holy crap. I just got back from a trip. I don't even know what day it is. And since I made a mistake, let's talk about mistakes, all right? During Donald Trump's hundreds and hundreds of press avails, and the fact that he has in fact gone and just been up here taking questions in rapid fire, and Hillary Clinton did a semi-press avail for the first time in almost a full year, each and every time Donald Trump, and I'm sure I'll read it tomorrow about me, misspeak, it's the front page of the newspaper. The press should be ashamed of themselves for not holding Hillary Clinton to the same standard that they hold Donald Trump to. The fact that they've allowed her to avoid any type of open press events, and who here remembers in a recent parade, they put ropes around you guys and they marshaled you in the parade grounds like a herd of cattle. You had to go where she told you to go. That's not the New Hampshire way, and that's not the way that the press is supposed to be treated. So that's the difference between Donald Trump's and the mistakes that Donald Trump has made. And yes, he's made some mistakes. I've commented on it. You've referenced it. You know that there's been some mistakes. But you know what the big difference between his mistakes and Hillary Clinton's mistakes are? Yeah. The difference is that Donald Trump's mistakes have not cost people their lives. Donald Trump's mistakes have not sacrificed the security of this country by using and treating our sensitive correspondences with such a cavalier attitude. Donald Trump's mistakes have not cost the people of Libya their lives and their country. Donald Trump's mistakes have not emboldened our enemies the way that Hillary Clinton and President Obama's foreign policies, which have failed, have done. So let's keep it all in perspective when you talk about mistakes. So let's talk a little bit more, and then I'm going to wrap it up because you know the big guy's coming in a little bit. Well, he's just landed in Manchester, so we're going to wrap this up, and you got another probably 10 minutes, and he's going to come right along, and I'm excited to see him as well. I want to make sure that you understand what's at stake here, and I know you do. ISIS is spreading like a virus. Boko Haram is expanding, kidnapping, raping, killing people. China's poking and prodding its neighbors. The reset with Russia hasn't worked. The reformer Assad is killing more and more of his people. It's all part of that failed foreign policy. Hillary Clinton has gone so far to the left that she actually makes Bernie Sanders look like a conservative. Can you believe that? I thought I would never say that. And Stephen referenced it earlier. What's at stake here? I mean, really, some people come to me. I just got back from a trip actually yesterday evening, so I'm a little off kilter in terms of the time of it. But when I was on that ship, I took a family trip to Bermuda. 2,500 people said, I like Donald Trump and I want to vote for him, but, I don't like how and each and every time I would just list out the things that Hillary Clinton has done, the lies, the misrepresentation, the intersection of money and politics, the fact that they treat the Clinton Foundation like their own personal bank account, and there's this quid pro quo that's going on. It's unbelievable. So what's at stake here? And let's just cut it right down when you speak to your friends. First of all, tell your friends you got 90 days to make a decision, but keep an open mind until then. Because you know why? Because the Supreme Court is at stake, right? You don't want to wake up the day after the election and recognize that Hillary Clinton's in charge. Because they get the Supreme Court. They get the ambassador positions. They get the cabinet positions. We're going to have more and more regulation, more and more taxation. Our allies are not going to trust us. We're going to be in a stagnant position when it comes to the economic growth in this country. We're going to have more and more and more government interference in our lives. I mean, that's the choice. We can go left with Hillary Clinton or we can go on a different track with Donald Trump. So I'm asking you to do one thing before I wrap it up. Each and every person here, if each and every one of you committed to doing 10, 20 hours a week for the next 3 months, New Hampshire is in play. God forbid you wake up the next day and we barely lose New Hampshire and that costs the election. If that doesn't mean enough to each and every one of you who are out here sweating, giving up your Saturday night to be part of this historic event, then why are you here? You need to commit to all the people holding out the signs. You've got to come out and help. Do not wake up the day after the election and regret not getting more involved. So God bless you all. He'll be out in a few minutes. Thank you.